Listen, we live in a world that glorifies exhaustion. We celebrate the sleepless nights, the hustle, the grind, like pain is proof of passion. But what if I told you, true power doesn't come from suffering, it comes from strategy. It comes from mastering your own mind. Today, I'm going to give you 6 psychological secrets that will make you work harder, smarter, and stronger without ever risking your peace. Listen, every great transformation begins not with action, but with identity. The secret to unstoppable hard work without chaos, burnout, or doubt lies in the mind's most powerful mechanism: belief. What you believe about yourself dictates everything you do, everything you chase, everything you become. Most people think success starts with habits, routines, or strategies, but all of that is surface level. True, lasting drive begins deeper. It begins when you stop saying, "I want to be disciplined," and start saying, "I am disciplined." Because when discipline becomes who you are, effort stops feeling forced. It becomes natural, automatic, effortless in its own rhythm. The brain is wired to stay consistent with identity, and once it believes something about you, it will fight to keep that truth alive. That's the real game. You don't change by doing more, you change by becoming more. Think about this: every time you call yourself lazy, unmotivated, or inconsistent, your brain listens, it records it, it believes you. So the next time you face a hard task, it will whisper, "You're not built for this." And you'll believe that too. Words are not harmless. They are scripts that your subconscious follows. You've been hypnotizing yourself your whole life, one self-doubt at a time. But here's the beauty. You can rewrite that script. You can plant a new identity. Start small. I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. I'm someone who shows up no matter how I feel. Say it, repeat it, then prove it with action. Each small follow-through becomes a brick in your new identity. And one day you'll wake up realizing that discipline isn't something you force anymore. It's just who you are. That's not magic. That's neuroplasticity, the brain's power to rewire itself around what you repeatedly think, feel, and do. Most people chase motivation because it feels exciting. They wait for that perfect spark, that rush of energy to begin. But motivation is emotional weather. It changes every hour. Discipline is the climate. It stays. The problem is, we were taught to treat discipline like punishment, when in truth it's freedom. Discipline is not about control, it's about clarity. It's the promise you make to your future self that today's decisions won't be driven by fear, fatigue, or distraction. When you own discipline as your identity, you no longer depend on moods. You become someone who acts from choice, not circumstance. The question shifts from, "Do I feel like it?" to, "Is this who I am?" And when your answer is yes, the resistance loses its power. This is how athletes, artists, leaders, and creators rise. They don't chase passion every day, they build habits that protect it. Understand this: your brain loves patterns. It's constantly looking for proof of what it already believes. So if your internal dialogue says, "I'm not consistent," your brain will notice every slip, every failure, and ignore every success. But if you declare, "I am consistent," it begins to search for evidence to support that. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is called confirmation bias. And when used right, it's your secret weapon. You can use your mind's natural wiring to build a new reality. Tell yourself you're the kind of person who honors commitments. And you'll begin to notice every moment you follow through, every win, no matter how small, becomes evidence that you are becoming who you said you are. And with enough proof, the identity becomes permanent. You're no longer pretending, you're living it. That's how real transformation happens from T. He inside out. But here's the truth most people avoid. Identity isn't something you declare once. It's something you build. Moment by moment, decision by decision. You can't just say, "I'm disciplined," and expect your life to bend instantly. You must turn that belief through repeated alignment between words and actions. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence expands. Every time you break one, it shrinks. So start small. Keep your promises so tiny they're impossible to break. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Do one extra rep. Write one more line. Consistency, not intensity, rewires identity. Over time, those small wins stack up, and suddenly the person who used to struggle with discipline has become someone who thrives in it. You don't even remember when it shifted. You just look back one day and realize your old self is gone. And the most beautiful part, when discipline becomes identity, freedom follows. Because you no longer spend energy fighting yourself. You stop negotiating with excuses. You don't need constant pep talks, playlists, or quotes to push through. You simply act, because that's what you do. And that calm, grounded certainty, that's power. It's not loud, not chaotic. It's quiet, unshakable confidence, the kind that doesn't scream, "I will make it," but whispers, "I already am." When you reach that level, work no longer drains you, it fulfills you. The line between effort and ease blurs, because everything you do flows from authenticity. This is the state where progress accelerates naturally, where others see hard work, but you feel peace because you've stopped fighting the current. You've become it. So remember this, you don't need to chase motivation. You don't need to fight for discipline. You only need to decide who you are and act like it until it's true. The hardest worker isn't the one who never stops moving. It's the one who moves with purpose, identity, and peace. Stop trying to force yourself into greatness. Become the person who lives it. That's how you win, every day, every season, every lifetime. Hard work feels heavy when it's chained to struggle, when every task feels like climbing uphill with no air left to breathe. But here's the psychological secret most people miss. You can teach your brain to crave hard work instead of fearing it. The human mind isn't built to reject effort, it rejects pain without reward. The difference is everything. Every time you push yourself and feel no sense of accomplishment, your brain associates work with suffering. But when you tie effort to reward, when you celebrate every step forward, your brain starts chasing that feeling. It begins to haunt the grind. Because at the end of every action, it knows something good is coming. A sense of pride, a tiny win, a taste of victory. That's how you flip the script. You're not working hard because you have to. You're working hard because it feels good to grow. We're wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. It's biology. But pleasure doesn't just mean comfort. The brain's dopamine system, which drives motivation, doesn't actually reward you for the outcome. It rewards you for the progress. Every time you move closer to your goal, dopamine fires. That's nature's way of saying, keep going. The problem? We've trained ourselves to only celebrate the finish line. We ignore the climb. We say, I'll be proud when I get there, not realizing that withholding reward kills momentum. The people who never burn out, the ones who keep going no matter what, have mastered the art of rewarding progress, not perfection. They don't wait for the world to applaud. They build their own applause in silence. Because every bit of effort deserves energy back, even if it's just a deep breath and a whispered, I did that. Think about how kids learn. You don't motivate a child by waiting until they run a marathon to say, good job. You cheer when they take one step. You celebrate when they fall and try again. That constant loop of effort and reward trains the brain to enjoy learning, not just results. But somewhere along the way, adults forget that. We turn life into a checklist, not a journey. We tell ourselves we're not enough until we hit some invisible benchmark. And in that gap between doing and deserving, our motivation dies. The truth is, you can reignite it anytime you choose. All you need to do is start rewarding effort again. Smile after a task. Reflect on your growth. Give yourself credit for showing up when you didn't feel like it. That's not arrogance, it's brain training. You're teaching your mind that effort equals pride, not pain. There's another layer to this, emotion. Your emotional response to hard work determines whether you repeat it. If your brain links effort with tension, you'll avoid it subconsciously. If it links effort with satisfaction, you'll chase it automatically. That's why top performers have rituals of celebration. They don't just rest when they win, they recognize themselves. That recognition strengthens their identity, solidifies their confidence, and builds momentum for the next challenge. Every time you finish a task and give yourself a small reward, a walk, a smile, a silent acknowledgement, you're reinforcing a loop of resilience. Over time, your brain stops asking, "Do I have to?" and starts saying, "Let's do it again." The psychological key isn't to work harder, it's to make your brain want to work harder. Now, understand this doesn't mean you lie to yourself. You don't celebrate empty effort, you celebrate meaningful movement. You reward actions that align with your goals, because the brain can tell the difference between empty praise and authentic progress. The magic happens when the reward matches the challenge. You finish a project, take a moment of reflection. You hit the gym, look in the mirror and own that pride. You follow through on a promise, pause and let that satisfaction sink in. Most people skip that pause, they rush into the next task. But that silence, that moment of acknowledgement, is where growth locks in. That's when your brain says, "Yes, this is worth it." And when it believes that, effort stops draining you, it fuels you. You are not supposed to live chasing motivation like a mirage. You're supposed to create it from within. That's what rewiring your reward system does. It makes motivation internal, not circumstantial. You no longer depend on praise, recognition, or validation. You generate energy through self-respect. Every task becomes a transaction of power, effort in, pride out. And soon, hard work isn't a burden, it's your comfort zone. Because nothing feels better than knowing you're honoring your own potential. That's the hidden strength behind every consistent achiever. You think they're superhuman, but they've simply mastered their wiring. They've turned effort into emotion and discipline into desire. When you reach that point, you stop asking, "When will I be done?" and start asking, "What can I do next?" That's not burnout. That's brilliance. So remember this. Your brain doesn't care about the finish line. It cares about the feeling. Feed it the right feeling, and it will follow you anywhere. Reward every step, honor your effort, and teach yourself to love the climb as much as the summit. The real secret to hard work isn't struggle. It's self-celebration. Turn effort into pleasure, and success will chase you. Not because you forced it, but because your mind has learned that progress feels like peace. Logic starts the work, but emotion finishes it. Every single goal you've ever set started in your head, but whether you achieved it depended on what lived in your heart. You can make plans, design routines, set alarms, write lists, but none of it matters if you don't feel your purpose burning inside you. The mind is rational, it calculates, it organizes, it strategizes. But the heart is the engine. It's what gets you up when you're exhausted, what keeps you moving when no one's watching, what pushes you through the noise when life hits back. That's why the people who never quit aren't the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones emotionally anchored to their vision. They've built their why so deep into their bones that giving up isn't even an option. Their emotions aren't obstacles, they're fuel. When you attach emotion to your goal, you're giving your mind a reason to care. Think of it like fire. It doesn't matter how well the wood is stacked if there's no spark. Emotion is that spark. Ask yourself, why do I want this? What does it mean to me? Who will I become if I achieve it? Don't just think, feel the answers. Feel the pride of finishing something you started. Feel the freedom of living the life you dream about. Feel the relief of finally being who you were meant to be. Your brain doesn't just respond to logic, it responds to vivid emotion. When you visualize your goals in full color, when you can taste a victory, hear the applause, or sense the peace, it stops being a distant dream and starts becoming a psychological command. Your mind begins to act like it's already real, and that's when magic starts to happen. You're no longer chasing a goal, you're aligning with it. But emotion can't just be positive, it has to be personal. If your motivation only lives on the surface, it fades as soon as life gets hard. That's why so many people start strong and end weak. They're motivated by aesthetics, validation, or temporary excitement. The emotion that lasts is rooted in identity and meaning. It's not, I want to look successful. It's, I want to prove to myself that I can build something powerful. It's not, I want people to notice me. It's, I want to inspire someone who feels invisible. Real drive is born from depth. It comes from moments of truth. Times you failed, been doubted, been underestimated, and you decide to turn that pain into purpose. That's when emotion transforms into obsession, not because you're chasing something external, but because your goal now represents who you refuse to stop being. Emotion also creates resilience. Logic crumbles under pressure, emotion absorbs it and transforms it. When things go wrong, and they always do, it's not your plan that saves you, it's your reason. When the excitement fades, when progress slows, when failure whispers in your ear, logic tells you to stop. Emotion says, no, we keep going. The emotional anchor is what pulls you through the storm. It's the image of your family, the memory of your past, the vision of your future, all wrapped into one pulse of energy that reminds you why you started. That's why it's not enough to just know your why. You have to feel it every day. Write it down, speak it out loud, visualize it until it feels tangible. Let it sting, let it move you, let it wake something inside you. Because emotion is not weakness, it's power. It's the force that turns I wish into I will. Now here's the psychological truth most people never realize. The body follows the emotion you feed it. If you wake up and feel unmotivated, your posture slumps, your energy drops, and your brain follows. But if you deliberately create emotion, stand taller, breathe deeper, speak power into your morning, your physiology shifts your psychology. You can generate emotion at will. Athletes do it before games, performers do it before shows, and you can do it before anything that matters. Play music that ignites you. Move your body until you feel alive. Speak your intention until you believe it. You're not waiting for emotion to appear, you're creating it. Once that energy flows, logic becomes sharper, focus becomes effortless, and effort feels natural. Emotion isn't the opposite of discipline, it's the foundation of it. And here's the most important part. Emotion must evolve as you do. What drives you today might not drive you tomorrow, and that's okay. The goal isn't to cling to one feeling, it's to stay connected to meaning. Growth changes why. Our perspective, your values, your desires, let it. Revisit your why often, redefine it, expand it. The emotion that once made you start may not be the one that helps you finish. But as long as your heart stays tied to something real, your momentum never dies. That's how you build lifelong passion, by staying emotionally fluent with your own evolution. You stop working just to achieve, and you start working because it fulfills you. That's when life stops feeling like a checklist and starts feeling like purpose. So remember this, emotion is not your enemy, it's your engine. Logic can map the route, but only emotion can drive you there. When your why hits your soul harder than your fear, no obstacle can stop you. Stop chasing empty motivation. Build emotional anchors so deep that even the worst storm can't move you. Because when your work is connected to your heart, you don't burn out, you burn brighter. That's not luck. That's power. That's alignment. That's how you rise. Rest isn't weakness, it's a weapon. We live in a world that glorifies exhaustion, that measures worth by how busy you look, that celebrates burnout like it's a badge of honor. But the truth is, burnout doesn't prove your passion. It exposes your imbalance. Real strength isn't about going non-stop. It's about knowing when to push and when to pause. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who never rest. They're the ones who rest intentionally. Because recovery isn't time lost, it's time invested. Every muscle, every mind, every ambition needs moments of stillness to rebuild, recharge, and rise again stronger. If you never stop to breathe, you'll suffocate under your own effort. The art of working hard without breaking down lies in mastering the rhythm between effort and ease. When you rest deliberately, you're not stepping away from growth, you're fueling it. Your brain, like your body, performs in cycles. It needs downtime to consolidate memory, to process ideas, to regenerate creativity. That's why some of your best ideas come not when you're working, but when you're walking, showering, or simply sitting in silence. It's your subconscious catching up to your ambition. But most people don't allow themselves that space. They fill every gap with noise, every pause with a screen, every moment of silence with distraction. They confuse motion with progress. But motion without direction is just spinning. Rest creates direction. It gives your mind room to breathe, to reconnect, to remember why you're doing all this in the first place. Without it, you lose clarity, focus, and eventually yourself. True high performance doesn't come from constant output. It comes from balanced regeneration. The most successful athletes, leaders, and creators in the world understand this deeply. They schedule recovery as seriously as they schedule meetings, workouts, or deadlines. They know that rest is not an afterthought. It's strategy. Look at any elite performer. Their secret isn't that they go harder than everyone else. It's that they recover better than everyone else. They treat sleep, nutrition, mental stillness, and downtime as essential tools in their performance toolkit. Because they know that without recovery, performance plateaus. You can't run a marathon every day and expect to win. It's the rest between the races that builds champions. The body and the mind both thrive in balance. When you honor your recovery, you give your energy a chance to rebuild its strength and return even more powerful. But here's where most people struggle. They feel guilty for resting. They equate stillness with laziness, breaks with weakness. That guilt is what keeps them in the cycle of overwork, stress, and self-doubt. It's what drains them mentally long before their body gives out. The truth is, rest is not permission, it's responsibility. You owe it to yourself, your goals, and the people you serve to show up at your best. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't give from a drained spirit. Taking care of yourself doesn't make you less driven. It makes you sustainable. Think about it. If your phone battery is dying, you don't blame the phone, you charge it. Why don't we do the same for ourselves? You are not a machine. You are a living, breathing system of energy, emotion, and potential. Treat yourself like it. Rest doesn't always mean doing nothing. It means doing what restores you. For some, it's quiet solitude. For others, it's movement, nature, or connection. The key is to know what fuels your soul. Real rest isn't about escaping life, it's about returning to it rebalanced. It's intentional. It's sacred. It's about stepping back so you can see the bigger picture. When you give yourself space to reset, you tap back into your creativity, intuition, and strength. You start making better decisions, not rushed ones. You regain the emotional stability that stress steals from you. And slowly you begin to realize that working endlessly isn't noble, it's numbness. Rest reconnects you to the feeling behind your purpose, the energy behind your effort. It gives meaning back to the work. And when you finally learn to master recovery, everything changes. Your focus sharpens, your confidence grows. You stop chasing productivity and start creating impact. Because now, your work comes from power, not pressure. You understand that balance isn't about splitting time evenly. It's about giving your best to every moment, whether you're grinding or grounding. You start seeing that rest isn't the opposite of hard work. It's part of it. It's what allows you to sustain your pace, elevate your quality, and protect your peace. When rest becomes part of your rhythm, burnout stops being a threat. You wake up ready, not resentful. You stop surviving on fumes and start thriving on purpose. That's what true mastery looks like. Not endless motion, but intentional momentum. So remember this. Rest is not retreat, it's recovery. It's the secret weapon of the unstoppable. You are not falling behind when you pause. You are charging ahead with wisdom. The body that rests well performs better. The mind that resets thinks clearer. And the heart that breathes deeper feels stronger. Don't wear exhaustion as a crown. Wear balance as your power. Because in a world that's constantly moving, the one who knows how to pause is the one who leads. Rest like a warrior, rise like a force, and work from wholeness, not from depletion. That's how you last. That's how you win. You can't fly surrounded by people who fear heights. It doesn't matter how strong your vision is or how relentless your drive. If the energy around you is heavy, it will pull you down. Human beings are wired to mirror the emotions, attitudes, and habits of those around them. It's psychological gravity. Spend enough time with people who doubt themselves, and you'll start doubting too. Stay around people who complain, and soon their negativity becomes your soundtrack. But stand beside people who dream big, who believe in action, who challenge you to rise, and your entire frequency changes. Your circle is not just company, it's a mirror reflecting what you'll allow yourself to become. Every great success story, every legendary rise started with a choice, not just about what to pursue, but who to keep close. Because your environment will either elevate your excellence or erode it. The truth is, your brain constantly seeks belonging. It wants to fit in, to adapt, to align with the group it identifies with. If your circle normalizes mediocrity, your mind will lower its standards to match. If your circle normalizes ambition, your effort will rise without force. You don't even realize it happening, it's subconscious. Psychologists call it social contagion, the invisible spread of behaviors, habits, and emotions between people. That's why some groups breed greatness while others breed stagnation. The people you spend the most time with quietly set your bar for what's acceptable. They decide whether you'll be consistent, courageous, or comfortable. So if you ever wonder why your growth feels stuck, don't just look at your goals, look at your surroundings. Who you walk with determines how far you'll go. You need people in your life who hold you accountable, not hostage. There's a difference between those who criticize and those who challenge. Critics tear down to feel tall. Challengers push you to stand taller. Surround yourself with people who call out your potential, not your flaws. The ones who say, "You're better than this," not because they judge you, but because they believe in you. Real friends don't let you stay small. They see the greatness you hide, even from yourself. They remind you who you are when you forget. And they do it with honesty, not flattery. Growth doesn't come from constant comfort. It comes from friction, from being around people who demand your best, because they live by that standard too. The right circle doesn't just inspire you, they sharpen you. But this isn't just about removing negative people, it's about becoming the kind of person worthy of a powerful circle. You can't attract high energy, focused, purpose-driven people if your own energy is scattered, cynical, or complacent. You must embody what you expect. Be the encourager. Be the one who listens deeply, supports others, celebrates their wins without envy. Because energy doesn't just flow, it reciprocates. If you want loyal, uplifting, visionary people in your life, be that person first. Greatness gravitates to greatness. And when you start walking in that frequency, when your actions, words, and intentions reflect discipline and authenticity, you'll notice your circle changing naturally. You won't need to cut people off. The energy mismatch will do it for you. Sometimes, though, building that circle means walking alone for a while. Growth is lonely before it's rewarding. You'll have to let go of certain connections, even if they once felt like home. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started evolving. You can't climb new mountains with people who only want to live in the valley. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You have to protect your vision from those who can't see it yet. And yes, it hurts, but loneliness is temporary, low-energy environments are permanent prisons. Give yourself permission to outgrow people. The ones meant for your future will catch up when they're ready. The rest will fade as you rise. That's not loss, it's life making space for what's next. And when you finally find your circle, those few who match your fire, who remind you of your strength, who challenge your excuses and celebrate your evolution, hold them close. These people are rare. They don't just push you forward, they pull greatness out of you. They make the work lighter, the goals bigger, and the journey richer. Together, you build momentum that feels unstoppable because it's rooted in trust, loyalty, and shared purpose. You don't compete with them, you rise together. You exchange ideas, not insecurities. You grow in each other's light instead of hiding in shadows. That's the kind of energy that multiplies success and multiplies peace. And when you stand in that space, surrounded by purpose, supported by power, you become impossible to break. So remember this, your circle is your soil. Nothing grows in the wrong ground. Choose people who water your vision, not those who drain it. Let go of energy that dims your spark and hold close the ones who help you shine brighter. The world doesn't need you to fit in, it needs you to rise, and you can't rise alone. Build an inner circle that reflects your future, not your past. Because the moment you align your energy with people who believe in growth, your potential stops being a possibility and becomes your reality. You don't just become stronger, you become unstoppable. Hard work without self-awareness is noise. You can run fast, hustle endlessly, and fill your calendar with action. But if you don't understand yourself, your energy will scatter instead of sharpen. The truth is, success isn't just about effort. It's about alignment. It's not how much you do, it's how much of what you do actually serves your purpose. You can't pour from confusion. You can't grow from chaos. The people who thrive in any field are the ones who've mastered the art of knowing themselves, how they think, how they feel, what drives them, what drains them. When you know your rhythm, your strengths, your triggers, you stop working against yourself. You start channeling your power with precision. That's what makes hard work transformative instead of toxic. The goal isn't to do more. It's to understand where you're doing it and who you're becoming through it. Self-awareness is the foundation of all sustainable achievement. It gives you direction when motivation fades and clarity when choices overwhelm you. It's what helps you say no to what doesn't align and yes to what matters most. Without it, you chase everything and end up with nothing. We're taught to focus on external progress, status, money, recognition, but the inner progress is what determines whether any of it will last. You can build a mountain of success, but if it's built on misunderstanding yourself, it will crumble the moment life shifts. Self-awareness forces you to slow down and listen to your thoughts, your patterns, your instincts. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. Because when you understand your inner world, your outer world stops controlling you. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop living in constant hustle and start living with purpose. And here's the part most people miss. Self-awareness doesn't mean self-criticism. It means observation without judgment. Too many people confuse reflection with self-blame. They think understanding themselves means dissecting every mistake until they feel broken. But awareness isn't about tearing yourself apart. It's about seeing clearly. It's saying, this is who I am, this is what I need, and this is where I'm going. It's accepting your flaws while still choosing to evolve. When you can look at yourself honestly without shaming what you find, you build confidence rooted in truth, not illusion. That's power. Because confidence built on denial shatters easily, but confidence built on self-acceptance can't be shaken. The most grounded people aren't perfect. They're just honest enough to know who they are and disciplined enough to keep growing anyway. Once you know yourself deeply, hard work stops being random effort and becomes directed energy. You start working smarter, not out of laziness but out of awareness. You know when to push and when to pause. You understand which environments fuel you and which ones drain you. You know what kind of structure you thrive under and what kind of distractions derail you. That kind of clarity gives you power over your day. Instead of letting your day control you, you stop chasing trends or comparing your journey to others because you realize your lane is different. And that's the point. There's freedom in that. You no longer waste energy trying to be someone else's version of success. You start designing your own. Every hour, every choice, every decision starts aligning with your authentic rhythm. And that's when your work begins to feel lighter but achieve more impact. Self-awareness also gives you emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate challenges, people, and pressure with grace. The more you understand your emotions, the less they control you. You learn to respond, not react, to lead, not follow chaos. That's why emotional awareness is the silent advantage of the most successful people in the world. They know how to stay calm when others panic, how to communicate with empathy, how to build trust even in high-stress environments. It's not luck. It's self-awareness at work. When you're emotionally grounded, setbacks don't shake your core. CRI. Criticism doesn't destroy your confidence, and failure doesn't define your identity. It refines it. You begin to see challenges not as threats but as teachers, each one sharpening your awareness even more. And through that process, you become unshakable. Ultimately, self-awareness transforms hard work into harmony. It aligns your values, your habits, your environment, and your emotions into one unified flow. You stop working out of fear or pressure and start working from strength and clarity. You're no longer just surviving the grind, you're mastering it. Because awareness creates control and control creates freedom. When you know yourself, you can shape your world instead of being shaped by it. Every goal becomes a reflection of your truth, not someone else's expectations. That's when success feels whole. That's when your drive feels peaceful. That's when hard work becomes joy, because it's no longer about proving something, it's about expressing who you really are. So remember this, hard work without awareness is blind force, but hard work with awareness is unstoppable power. Know yourself, your rhythm, your limits, your fire, and you'll never waste a drop of your energy again. You'll stop fighting your nature and start using it as fuel. The real transformation doesn't happen when you work harder. It happens when you work from alignment. Because the moment your actions, thoughts, and purpose move in the same direction, you don't just succeed, you evolve. And that evolution, that's what makes every ounce of effort worth it.